Build yourself quietly. Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you something. When was the last time you let your actions speak so loud no one needed to hear a single word from you? See, in a world obsessed with noise, constant updates, likes, applause, opinions, there's power in silence. Quiet power, the kind that doesn't need to announce its presence because it's too busy becoming something greater. Let me tell you straight, you don't have to broadcast your every move. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. You just need to build brick by brick, day by day, quietly, while others are flashing fake success, you're studying. While they're chasing clout, you're chasing purpose. While they're showing off, you're showing up. And that, my friend, is the difference. Some people want to be seen starting, but the ones who truly make it, they focus on finishing. They don't need applause to stay committed. They don't need approval to stay consistent. They don't post the hustle, they live it. You see, when you build yourself quietly, you learn to trust your own voice more than the noise outside. You stop explaining yourself. You stop begging to be understood. Because real confidence, it's not loud, it's not flashy, it's calm, it's patient, it's disciplined. Let them laugh now. While you grind in the shadows, let them doubt you. While you master your craft, because when the time comes and you step out, you won't need to say a word. Your results will speak volumes, but that day only comes if you're willing to endure the quiet seasons, the ones where no one sees you, no one claps for you, no one checks on you. And yet, you keep going. Why? Because you know something they don't. You know who you're becoming, so stop announcing the move. Make the move. Stop seeking permission. Start walking your path. Stop talking about the dream. Live the dream, build yourself quietly, and when it's time to rise, let the world be surprised by the strength you built in silence. Here are 5 key points for the build yourself quietly. 1. Let your success make the noise, not your plans. 2. Focus on discipline over display. 3. Master your craft in silence, reveal it in strength. 4. The quiet grind builds unshakable confidence. 5. Private growth leads to public power. Let your success make the noise, not your plans. 1. That one line right there carries the kind of weight that can shift your entire mindset, if you really sit with it. See, we live in a time where it feels like everyone's in a rush to announce what they're going to do, what they are about to start, who they are about to become. And sure, there's nothing wrong with being excited about your vision, but the real power, the kind that changes your life, that power is in execution, not in the announcement. Talk is cheap. Action is everything. People have grown addicted to declaring their plans out loud, thinking that saying it makes it real, but saying it doesn't make it real. Doing it does. You don't need to post about it. You don't need to tell every friend, every relative, every stranger what your next big move is. Because the truth is, most people don't care, and the ones who do, they're watching, not listening. Every time you talk about your goals instead of working on them, you lose energy, you leak drive. You start believing that talking about the thing is equal to doing the thing. But it's not. There's a trap in needing validation before you've produced results. There's a danger in mistaking attention for achievement. It's far better to move in silence and let your outcomes speak. When your results start stacking up, people won't need to be told. They'll notice you'll walk differently. You'll talk with certainty, not because you said you would, but because you did. Think about the people you admire most, the ones who inspire you. How often do they talk about what they're going to do? Not much. They just do it. And when they show up with something real, tangible, solid. That's not a coincidence. That's discipline. That's a mentality that says, let my work talk, let my consistency speak. There's a quiet strength in letting your success tell your story. Success doesn't need to shout, it just needs to arrive. Loud plans with no results, that's noise. Silent work with powerful outcomes, that's music. That's the rhythm of mastery. And here's the deeper truth most people won't tell you. The more you talk about your plans, the more people will try to pull you off track. They'll project their fears onto your dreams. They'll give you doubt dressed up as advice. They'll try to shrink your vision to fit their comfort zone. Why give them that opening? Why invite commentary on something you haven't even built yet? Protect your plans like seeds. When you plant something, you don't dig it up every day to show people what's happening. You water it, you nurture it, you give it time, the results come later. Let your goals develop underground where they're safe from judgment and ridicule. And when they grow, when they blossom into results, that's when the world takes notice. Now, let's be clear, it's not about hiding out of fear. It's not about being secretive for the sake of mystery. It's about choosing focus over fanfare, choosing results over reactions. It's about building a foundation that's so strong, you don't need to prove anything to anyone. You don't need an audience to grind. You don't need applause to be consistent. You don't need likes, views, or approval to be excellent. You just need a reason, a deep one, a reason so personal, so real, that it lights a fire in you every single morning. When you work in silence, you remove the pressure to perform. You free yourself from expectation. You create from truth, not from showmanship. And that's when your work becomes powerful. That's when you begin to build something unshakable. It's easy to impress people with big talk. But talk fades. Talk doesn't build wealth. Talk doesn't transform your body. Talk doesn't develop your character. Only work does that. Only dedication. Only grit. Only those quiet hours no one sees but you. And here's the beautiful irony. The less you talk about what you're building, the more powerful it becomes. You're not wasting energy explaining. You're using it to execute, and that changes everything. Let your life speak. Let your habits speak. Let your results speak. People won't remember what you promised. They'll remember what you delivered, too. Focus on discipline over display. That's a line that cuts through the noise because, let's face it, display is easy. Discipline, that's where the real challenge lies. Anybody can put on a show. Anybody can pretend for a moment, pose for the camera, post a quote, and look the part. But it takes a whole different kind of strength to wake up every single day and stay committed when nobody's watching. We're living in a world that celebrates the highlight reel. Everywhere you look, it's flash, filters, and facades. People are more focused on looking successful than actually becoming successful. But here's the truth. What's seen isn't always real, and what's real doesn't always need to be seen. If you want to build something that lasts, if you want real power, you've got to trade the need to be seen for the discipline to be great when no one's clapping. Discipline is the quiet engine behind every real success story. It's not glamorous, it's not exciting, it's repetitive, unglamorous, and often brutally boring, but it's also the one thing that never lies because display can be faked. A new car, a nice suit, a smile for the camera. It can all be smoke and mirrors. But discipline, you can't fake that. It shows up in results. It lives in consistency. It speaks when you don't have to. Let me put it plainly. Discipline is doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like doing it. And the ones who master that, they win every time, not because they had the best resources, not because they had the most attention, but because they had the grit to keep showing up when it would have been easier to quit. And here's the real kicker. Discipline isn't just about your habits. It's a mindset. It's how you carry yourself. It's how you handle setbacks, how you respond to temptation, how you stay focused when life tries to pull you in every direction. It's saying no when everyone else says yes. It's keeping your promises to yourself even when no one else knows you made them. Most people chase motivation. They wait to feel inspired. But discipline doesn't care how you feel. It's not emotional. It's a decision. It says, I made a commitment and I'm sticking to it. period. No negotiation, no drama, just execution. See, display wants applause. Discipline wants growth. Display is about impressing others. Discipline is about improving yourself. Display fades the moment attention disappears. Discipline, it compounds, it builds, it transforms. When you focus on display, you get caught in the trap of external validation. You start making moves to be noticed, not to be better, and that's dangerous because it puts yourself worth in other people's hands. One day they cheer, the next day they're gone. And there you are, empty, confused, wondering why you don't feel fulfilled. But when you focus on discipline, you build from within. You become someone no one can take away. You don't just have success. You become the kind of person who creates it over and over, no matter what life throws at you. Think about athletes. The ones who truly dominate their sport aren't the ones showing off on social media every day. They're the ones training when the cameras are off. Think about great musicians, artists, inventors. Their genius wasn't born under lights. It was forged in hours of unseen effort, repetition, failure, and practice. That's discipline. That's what changes everything. You've got to stop chasing the image of success and start chasing the habits that lead to it. And it's not going to be easy. There will be days when quitting feels like the best option, days when you don't see progress, days when no one believes in you. But if you've got discipline, you push through anyway, not for the show, but for the substance, not for attention, but for evolution. The truth is, most people won't applaud your discipline. They won't see the early mornings, the late nights, the sacrifices, the setbacks. They'll only see the end result, and when they do, they'll call you lucky. They'll say it was talent, timing, or chance, but you'll know it was the choice you made every single day to show up, to do the work, to build quietly and relentlessly. Display fades, it's temporary. Discipline is what lasts. It's what builds the body, the business, the mindset, the life you want, and it doesn't just shape what you do, it shapes who you are. So while others are chasing the spotlight, you stay in the shadows, training, sharpening, growing, because when the moment comes, you won't need to fake anything. You'll be ready, you'll be real, and that's a kind of power no display can ever match. 3. Master your craft in silence, reveal it in strength. In a world where everyone seems to be performing, real mastery still comes from the quiet corners, where no one is clapping, where no one is cheering, and where no one's watching. That's the sacred space, that's the place where greatness is born. See, real power doesn't come from showing off the process. It comes from owning the process, from digging deep into your work, day in and day out, until your skill becomes undeniable. There's something special about the quiet worker, the one who doesn't post every step, the one who doesn't need to prove anything to anyone. They're not caught up in the performance, they're buried in the practice. And while the world is busy talking, they're doing. While others crave recognition, they crave refinement, because for them, it's not about praise, it's about precision. It's not about attention, it's about excellence. To master your craft, you've got to fall in love with the details, the small things no one talks about, the repetitions that seem endless, the corrections that feel invisible, the hours that stretch on without thanks or acknowledgement. It's not sexy, it's not glamorous, but that's where the magic lives. That's where skill becomes second nature. That's where confidence is forged, not from hype, but from hard, earned results. People get this part twisted. They want to display the end result before they've earned it. They want to shine before they've struggled. But mastery doesn't show up in shortcuts. It shows up in the grind. The uncomfortable, often unnoticed work that most people skip. And here's the thing, when you master something in silence, you start to build a foundation that can't be shaken. It's rooted, it's real, it's ready. When you reveal your strength, it shouldn't be a surprise to you. It should be the natural outcome of all the work you've done behind the scenes. And by the time people notice, it's already too late for doubt, because they're not just seeing talent, they're seeing proof. The quiet years, the lonely mornings, the disciplined nights, all of it adds up. All of it becomes visible when it needs to. People often ask, when should I show the world what I've been working on? The answer is simple: when it speaks for itself. When you walk in a room and the energy shifts, when you perform and no one can question the level, when your results shut down every conversation, that's when, and the only way to get there is through relentless, focused, behind-the-scenes mastery. It's tempting to want the world to notice your effort early on, but the truth is, your energy is better spent mastering than marketing. Let your skill be the promotion. Let your excellence be the announcement. Because when your craft is solid, the world can't ignore it forever. Sooner or later, strength reveals itself, and when it does, it doesn't need to explain. There's a kind of unshakable calm that comes from knowing you've done the work. You don't need to shout, you don't need to argue, you've got the receipts, you've got the repetitions, and that confidence, that presence, it's different. It's not based on hype, it's earned. And let's not forget, when you're focused on mastery, your standards change. You stop chasing comparison, you stop looking side to side, you stay locked in on getting better, not being better than others, but better than who you were yesterday. That's the only real competition anyway. Every day, you polish your skills like a blade. Sharpen it until it cuts through doubt, hesitation, and fear. And every time you level up, you don't need to brag. You just show up stronger. There's no need to prove your greatness when your greatness becomes obvious. When you've mastered your craft, it shows in how you move, how you speak, how you solve problems. It's in your tone, in your precision, in your posture. People sense it, they respect it, even if they don't fully understand it. And here's the quiet truth: the strongest ones are rarely the loudest. The masters are too busy refining their art to seek applause. They don't need to tell you they're great. You can feel it in their presence. That's what silent mastery creates, a quiet confidence that doesn't waver even when the pressure rises. To get there, you have to be willing to endure the quiet seasons, the ones where nothing seems to be paying off, where improvement is microscopic, where doubt creeps in and whispers that you're wasting your time, but you keep going because you understand something most people don't. The payoff isn't always instant, but it's always worth it. You don't master anything overnight. It's the product of 100 invisible decisions, 1,000 hours no one claps for, 10,000 moments where you could have quit but didn't. And when it's time to reveal your strength, there's no need to act tough or pretend. You just are. That's the reward of silent mastery. Not just the skill, but the character it shapes. Not just the applause, but the internal certainty that you're built for this. You've become what most people only pretend to be. Not because you wanted attention, but because you chose greatness, and you paid the price in silence. For the quiet grind builds unshakable confidence. There's something deeply powerful about the kind of work that happens when no one's looking. When it's just you, the early morning, maybe the stillness of the night, and the commitment to your craft. No noise, no applause, no shortcuts, just effort, repeated, disciplined, intentional effort. That's the grind, and it's in that quiet space, where doubt tries to creep in and no one's cheering you on, that real confidence is born. Confidence isn't something you can fake forever. You can talk a big game, post all the right quotes, wear the right outfit, flash a smile, but deep down you know whether you've done the work or not. You know if your results are rooted in substance or just surface. The quiet grind doesn't lie, it's honest, brutally honest, and that's what makes it such a powerful builder of self-belief. Because when you've put in the hours and held yourself to a high standard without needing an audience, you start to trust yourself on a whole different level. That trust, that's the gold. That's what separates people who only seem confident from the ones who are. The real kind of confidence doesn't come from compliments or attention. It comes from memory, from remembering all the times you showed up when it was hard. From knowing how many times you pushed through the resistance, did the reps, made the sacrifice, stayed focused when no one would have blamed you for quitting. You start to feel it in your bones. I can do hard things. I've done this before. I know who I am when things get tough. The quiet grind isn't flashy. It's not supposed to be. It's not the story people celebrate because it's not loud enough to trend, but it's the part of the journey that matters the most because that's where you build the foundation, internally. That's where you develop the ability to rely on yourself. It's easy to feel strong when everything's going your way, but what about when it's not? What about when progress is invisible? What about when the results aren't coming and your motivation is gone? That's when the grind becomes sacred. That's when you dig deep and realize confidence isn't a feeling. It's a habit. It's built through motion, not motivation, through discipline, not desire, through showing up when it's inconvenient, not just when it's exciting. You can't borrow confidence. You can't download it or pretend your way into it. You build it layer by layer through every small commitment kept, every promise followed through, every difficult choice made when comfort was calling your name. The world sees the outcome later and calls it natural. They'll say it's talent or luck, but you know better. You know the hours, the missed parties, the early way, cups, the sweat, the sacrifice. Confidence that's built in silence becomes unshakable because it's not dependent on circumstance. You don't crumble when things go wrong because your identity isn't tied to one success or one failure. It's tied to your process. You've done the work, so you know how to do the work. That knowledge becomes your edge. That experience becomes your armor, and it travels with you, no matter what arena you walk into. The grind teaches you patience. It humbles you. It tests your ego and breaks you down before it builds you back up stronger. You learn to embrace repetition. You stop chasing the quick fix. You realize that mastery is boring sometimes, and that's okay. The repetition isn't punishment, it's preparation. It's in the grind that you begin to see the difference between those who want results and those who are willing to earn them. You don't always see progress while you're grinding. That's the hardest part. You plant seeds, and for the longest time it feels like nothing is growing, but one day something changes, not all at once, but quietly. You start noticing that you're more focused. Your skills are sharper. Your reactions are quicker, your thoughts are clearer, you've changed, not because someone told you to, but because you earned it. People think confidence is loud, but real confidence is quiet. It doesn't need to announce itself. It walks into a room and gets to work. It doesn't chase approval, it attracts respect. Because when someone's put in the hours, you can feel it. There's a calmness in them, a steadiness. You can't rattle someone who's been through the grind and came out stronger. The best kind of grind is the one where you stop keeping score. You stop obsessing over how far you have left to go, and you just fall in love with the work. You show up because that's who you are now, not because someone's watching, not because you need praise, but because your future deserves that level of effort. And when you live like that long enough, confidence becomes your default setting. Not arrogance, not fake bravado, just that quiet inner voice that says, I've trained for this, I'm ready. That's the beauty of the grind. It doesn't just build skill, it builds self-respect. You start looking at yourself differently. You walk taller, you speak with clarity, you stop apologizing for your standards because you know what it took to get here, and when life throws chaos your way, and it will, you won't fold because your strength wasn't built in comfort. It was forged in those early mornings, those long nights, those hours no one applauded. That's where unshakable confidence lives. In the silence, in the work, in the moments when giving up would have been easier, but not even an option anymore because you've become someone different. Someone forged, not found, created, not discovered, built from the inside out, one quiet grind at a time. 5. Let your results make the noise. In a world that never stops talking, that's addicted to updates, attention, and applause, there's something different, almost rebellious, about keeping quiet and letting your work speak for you. You see, results carry a kind of authority that words never can. They don't beg for recognition, they command it. When you've really done the work, when you've poured yourself into the process, you don't have to convince anyone of your worth. You just show up, and the room listens. Everyone wants to be seen these days. They want to be noticed before they've earned it. They want to be celebrated while they're still warming up. But the ones who last, the ones who truly leave a mark, they're the ones who let their results do all the talking, no bragging, no broadcasting, just undeniable outcomes. The truth is, when you're focused on building something real, you don't have time to chase applause. You're too busy getting better, and the better you get, the quieter you become, not because you lack confidence, but because you've found a deeper kind of power, certainty. You know what's louder than any speech. Excellence, when someone delivers at such a high level, explanations become unnecessary. There's no need for long introductions or fancy words. You walk in, do your work, and the impact speaks volumes. People respect results. They may not like you. They may not understand you. But when your results are undeniable, they have to acknowledge you. That's the power of letting your work speak first. It's tempting to show people your progress too early, to pull back the curtain before the masterpiece is ready. But when you reveal things before they're solid, you invite opinions before you've built enough momentum to ignore them. That's the trap. You start building for validation instead of building for impact. And when the crowd doesn't respond how you want, you start second, guessing. That's why the quiet phase is so critical. That's where you build strength. That's where you develop confidence that doesn't waver when the noise gets loud. Letting your results make the noise doesn't mean staying invisible forever. It means staying focused long enough for your actions to speak louder than your words ever could. It means pouring yourself into your craft until it can't be ignored. Until your results walk into rooms you've never even stepped in. Until people talk about you not because you told them to, but because your impact left them no choice. The people who really move the world aren't the loudest. They're the most consistent. They're the ones who kept showing up when no one clapped, when no one believed, when no one was watching. They didn't need hype because they had habits. They didn't need attention because they had ambition. And when the time was right, their work spoke with clarity, precision, and undeniable truth. There's something magnetic about someone who doesn't have to say a word, but everyone listens when they move. That kind of presence, it's not built overnight. It's earned through effort no one saw, through discipline no one celebrated, through quiet sacrifices most people would never understand, but the payoff is real. When your results speak, they shut down doubt, they silence critics, they prove your value without you ever having to raise your voice. And here's the beautiful part. You don't need to rush. You don't need to force anything. Just keep working, keep building, keep refining your process. Every day you show up in silence, your results grow louder. Every day you stay committed, your future gets more defined. And one day, people will look up and wonder where you came from. They won't realize you've been building for years in the background, mastering your craft, sharpening your edge. That's the secret. While others are busy trying to convince the world they're something, you become something. You evolve into a version of yourself that doesn't need permission to be great. Your results start creating opportunities. Your name gets mentioned in rooms you've never been in, not because you chased it, but because your work demanded it. Letting your results make the noise is about trusting the process more than the praise. It's about choosing long-term respect over short-term recognition. It's about believing so deeply in your mission that external validation becomes a bonus, not a requirement. Because once you get to that place, you stop needing the world to clap. You've already clapped for yourself. You've already celebrated the quiet victories. You've already built something solid enough to speak for you. This approach isn't for everyone. It requires patience. It requires humility. It requires the courage to be misunderstood while you're still under construction. But it also builds something rare. It builds a reputation that lasts. It creates a legacy that echoes far beyond any temporary spotlight. And when people finally see the results, they don't just see success. They see substance. They see the foundation. They see the hours, the sweat, the integrity. And that's what separates the ones who flash from the ones who last. Results that speak are built on discipline, on execution, on delayed gratification. You become a person of few words but powerful actions. Someone who doesn't waste time trying to look successful because they're too busy being successful. There's a calmness that comes with this mindset, a quiet, grounded kind of confidence. You stop reacting to every opinion. You stop explaining yourself to people who don't matter. You simply keep moving, keep producing, and let your results speak for themselves. The people who need to notice will. The ones who don't were never supposed to. Let your journey be between you and the work. Let your mission stay sacred. Let your standards stay high, because the truth is, when your results are strong enough, they break through the noise on their own. They draw the right people, they open the right doors, and they tell a story no words ever could.